Shh, it's all right, the villain said. You're doing beautifully, and I'm so proud of you, but that's enough now. It was cruel of them to make you fight me. You never had a chance. It's not your fault. The sound of Mithril sawed boots rang out in the hall of darkened stone, each step like the chime of a church bell. From her throne, she who was darkness, the primordial chaos, the goddess Entropy, the eldest being invoked by every embittered heart, watched the approaching hero with a mixture of annoyance and scorn. So, you've come, she said, eyeing the knightly figure. Another anointed and self-righteous champion, sent by creation to bring me low. He, or at least the interloper seemed to be male under the gleaming armor, cut a magnificent figure. From the luminous crown worked into his enclosed helm, to the enchanted filigree of his armor, he seemed a figure from the pages of myth. Even his cloak was angelic, a split cape of azure, embroidered with the image of silver wings. She rose languidly, her own raiment of shadows cascading down her body like falling smoke, and she gestured with her slender talent hand. What makes you think you can achieve what others have failed to do? I am the prophesied chosen, replied the hero, his voice clearly enhanced by some enchantment worked into his helm, for it bellowed out from him clear and with the faint echo of an angelic choir behind it. Needless theatrics, the goddess thought dismissively before she saw the energy gathering into the hero's hands. For I bear the means to end your evil, he shouted in triumph as the energy coalesced into a sword of brilliant light. I bear the heart-soul blade. Only one in a generation can form such a blade, and only one whose soul is innocent, their motives pure, the goddess said with a frown as she descended from her dais. Now it made sense to her how he had overcome the self-styled dreadlords who invoked her name with their every depravity. They stared at one another for a fleeting moment before she spread her arms in a bow, with scorn leaving her voice. Come then, I will grant you the courtesy of a worthy end, O hero. For the Empire! For creation! The knight cried as he charged. His strike fell like a thunderbolt, yet the goddess avoided the blow, slipping away like a living shadow. Your blind faith makes you reckless, she observed, her voice cool despite the taunt. Or perhaps you have grown too reliant on your trinkets. Let us face one another, soul to soul. He turned quickly, launching himself as his cloak became a pair of glowing wings. His flight carried him within 10 paces of her when she invoked her magic, the words of power crackling around him like lightning. Artifice unmade! A cascade of inverted lightning, black as the void, washed over the hero. With the first touch of that benighted power, the enchantments unraveled from his war gear like so much broken thread. One of his wings practically dissolved, sending him careening off course as he tumbled past the goddess and crashing into the steps at the foot of her throne. Even as he flew, the enchantments visibly fell away from him. His boots, his armor, his helm, and his gauntlets, not one piece of gear was spared. When the last of the magic faded away, the once mighty figure looked like a pile of discarded armor that lay crumpled upon the floor. The gleaming blade of soul fire still burned, but all the mortal-made relics were now so much scrap. Entropy turned and dark energy gathered in her hand. Well, hero, I await your pleasure. One so pure of heart deserves to face their fate standing. She frowned as she watched the fallen figure, seeming to struggle to rise. Did he break his neck in the landing? She wondered. as to her shock, she saw the blade's flame begin to diminish. It was not his life force leaving him, of that she was certain. Little by little, the knight began to rise off the floor, strangely high-pitched groans echoing from his armor as he managed to get to one knee. Then, with a whimper of pain, the figure collapsed to his side before rolling onto his back, his blade withdrawing and his helmet rolling clear. Entropy watched on, her eyes wide with horror at what she saw. The face that had been revealed was that of a boy, a mere youth that could not have been more than 12 summers old. The darkness faded from her hand as she looked on at him, his features etched with despair and exhaustion as he struggled in the armor that was at least 3 sizes too big. She drew near him, her features softening as her form became more human. With her less otherworldly form and simple raiment, Entropy looked almost motherly as she knelt by the boy. With a touch, the crushing metal began to dissolve, and she ran a hand across his forehead. "Shh, it's all right," the dark goddess said. "You're doing beautifully, and I'm so proud of you, but that's enough now. It was cruel of them to make you fight me. You never had a chance. It's not your fault," she soothed as she drew his head to her lap, and he began to sob into her robes. Entropy, the ancient and powerful goddess of unmaking, may have had a calm and gentle face as she spoke. She was furious, not at the hero, but at the gods and prophets for continually sending children and teenagers to fight their battles. This was the youngest by far. She held the child close to her as he succumbed to his exhaustion, falling unconscious in her arms. Laying the youth upon her throne, she wove a spell of dreamless sleep around his mind before turning away. As she descended from her throne, a rage unlike any she had felt before burned within her. With her eyes impenetrable voids set in a scowling face, but one thought crossed her mind. Her sister had much to answer for.